Howdy, gang, and happy holidays. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Today, I am going to share a first look and page through of the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remastered Project GM Core. This is from Paizo Inc., and the lead writers on this are Logan Bonner and Mark Seifter. This 336-page hardcover is available now, carries an MSRP of $59.99, or you can grab just the PDF alone for $19.99. Gotta say, that's a pretty good deal on the PDF. All that said, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remastered Project GM Core. That's a mouthful. I'm just going to call it the GM Core from here on out. A few things I want to mention before we get stuck in. First of all, my friends over at Paizo Inc. were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. These days, it's very, very important that you know that. Also, the folks at Paizo Inc. didn't want a whole lot of video of a lot of pages in both the Player Core and GM Core to be shared in video. Now, these books have been out for a bit, and I feel at this point in time, it's probably okay that I share some video of these books. In fact, I didn't hear any complaints about the Player Core video that I shared not too long ago. But what I am going to do, because I know there are pirates out there and there are people who are going to use any opportunity they can get to get content from videos. I know a lot of people out there think, oh no, there's no way. Who in the world would do that? Trust me, there are people out there who would screenshot each and every page if I shared each and every page with you. They exist. They really, really do. So you are probably going to see fewer pages in this first look than you would for most role-playing game products that I cover. Now, you're still going to get a very good look inside the GM Core, and you're going to get a very good feel for what's in the GM Core. You might just see fewer pages. That's all. I'm also going to kind of leave my hand blocking pages here and there. So just wanted to point that out. Something else I want to mention is I'm actually giving away a copy of the GM Core as well as the Player Core, which if you missed my first look video at the Player Core, by all means, check it out. Not only to see what's in the Player Core, but you also need to comment on this video in order to get into the running to win both of these books. So it's pretty easy to jump into the contest. You do have to be a subscriber to the channel, and you have to like this video. And what you need to do on this video is comment what's piqued your interest with the GM Core, or what are you looking forward to checking out with the Pathfinder GM Core. And then on the Player Core video, same thing. Be a subscriber, like the video, and comment on what you're looking forward to in the Player Core for the new remastered project for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Then on December 19th, I am going to reveal one lucky viewer's name who's going to get both these books, and that will be on my live show, The Gaming Gang Dispatch, which will also happen to be the 1,000th live stream. Pretty amazing. 1,000 live streams that I've done. I didn't think I was going to make it to 200 when I first started out. So, by all means, get in the running to win both of these books. I will ship these out to anywhere I can legally ship from the United States. So it is not only to viewers in the US and Canada or North America or anything like that. All right, all of that out of the way, let's take a look at the back. Tell your story. Creating a compelling tale takes more than just heroes. It requires a complex cast of allies, adversaries, and villains. As the game master, your job is to narrate the story, working with the players to imagine an epic adventure. The GM Core is here to help you with every facet of the game, including guidelines on story structure, tips on creating thrilling combat, and amazing treasure to reward your heroes for saving the day. This book has everything you need to become a legendary game master. All right, let's jump on in. Oh, that's a pretty cool splash page here. Very nice. So I have to mention, I have not looked at this. This is the first time I have cracked this book open. I have actually had the PDFs for both of the new core books for a while. I did not look into them because I like my first look videos to truly be first looks. So as we take a peek through this book, I guarantee a lot of this is going to be brand new to you as well as me. So as I had mentioned, the lead writers on this are Logan Bonner and Mark Seifter, but we also have a lot of additional writers as well as designers. Loads of artists took part in the production of this volume as well. So I'm not going to read through all their names simply because it would take me 10 minutes and I would probably massacre at least half of the names. So looking at the table of contents, we've got our introduction, then we have running the game, building games. This is going to be something pretty important because I know there have been people out there who were less than thrilled with the way second edition's original core book handled designing encounters and adventures. So I wonder if we're going to get a little more in depth with that. Now, I'm not saying that there weren't rules that were present in that core rule book. It's just, I think people had a lot of questions about how many encounters should take place in a day, how much magic should players have access to during a day of adventuring, things like that. We're also going to get setting information here, it looks like, with Age of Lost Omens. Then we get subsystems such as victory points, chases, duels, hexploration. Then we got our treasure trove. So we'll have all the various different treasure items, magic items also. I know there were some complaints from people about the treasure portion no longer being with the player-facing material. I've got to be honest, as a game master, I prefer that. I don't want my players to have access to a bunch of information about a lot of the magic items that are out there because I want them to be surprised when they find these things or are given these things and they have to utilize these various different items. I don't want everything just spelled out for them that they already know. To me, that's kind of a letdown. So here we've got running the game. So tools for responsible play, running a session, how to pace your game sessions, starting a session. Now, I don't know about those of you out there watching, but I tend to run long role-playing game sessions. If we don't have an opportunity to play for at least 6 hours, not only am I disappointed, but my players are disappointed as well. So normally we actually do about 8 hours. We'll do an entire evening, starting off in the late afternoon. Sometimes we might start off early afternoon and play throughout early evening. So we've got special considerations, consistency and fairness. That is important. That is certainly important. Narrative collaboration, cheating. Did I just see cheating? I thought I just saw, problematic players. Yeah, unfortunately, they do exist. So it says players rarely cheat knowingly. So if you suspect a player of cheating, it's safe to assume first that they're unaware of or simply forgot how an aspect of the rules works. A general reminder of how the rule, spell, or ability in question functions is usually enough to move past the situation. Every once in a great while, you'll encounter a player who is deliberately cheating. Damn you. talking about rarities of items, common, uncommon, rare, and unique. Maps and miniatures. Something else I think people were curious about is how much detail is going to be shared in the GM core regarding grids, such as using flip mats and flip tiles. Because I don't think that is something that the core rulebook for second edition, I got to be honest, I don't think it really tackles it at all. It tackles movement, obviously, but not necessarily the grid system. But again, it might. It's been a long time since I looked at the core rulebook. So we've got fleshing out exploration activities. So, of course, we have 3 different types of role playing that goes on in Pathfinder, and you kind of shift back and forth between the 3. So we do have encounters, we have exploration, and then we have downtime. So if you are not necessarily overly familiar with Pathfinder 2nd Edition, encounters is kind of second by second, minute by minute. Each round is about 6 seconds in length. So that's what your combat encounters tend to be, are encounters. So then we also have exploration, where now the time passes in blocks of minutes, say 10 minutes at a time, or even an hour at a time. And then, of course, we've got downtime. So downtime could be hours, could be days, could be weeks, could be months. So you'll kind of bounce back and forth between all 3 of those in a single game session. So here is a discussion, looks like your downtime, talking about long-term rest, training or retraining. Party treasure by level. So it looks like this is adventure design. So here we go, building games. It says, where chapter 1 gave you the information to run a game, whether it was your own creation or someone else's, this chapter digs deep into making the game fully your own. This chapter is organized into the following sections: campaign structure, adventure design, encounter design, variant rules, afflictions, environment, hazards, building creatures, building items, and building worlds. So it looks like probably about 60 pages, maybe a little more than 60 pages are being devoted to this. So we've got our adventure design. So we see a discussion of styles. So we've got dungeon crawl, gritty adventure, high adventure, horror, intrigue, military adventure, mystery, planar adventure, romantic adventure, different kinds of threats, how to build a sandbox. Here's our encounter design. So this is the section I think quite a lot of people out there will be curious about. Now, my review of the player core is on the horizon. I will have that out in just a few days. And then I'm going to follow up with my review of the GM core within about a week. Because once I'm through doing this video, I am going to start reading the GM core. I have finished the player core. And I think folks out there already know I am a fan of Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Yes, it is relatively crunchy, but I really do like the 3 action economy. I feel that it really goes a long way to making combat very, very unique. And granted, there are a lot of feats that are available, a lot of abilities that are available. But I like that a lot too. And players tend to like that because they're able to customize their characters the way they would like. So there is a ton of customization as far as Pathfinder 2nd Edition. And much of it is clearer with this new GM Core and Player Core. And that was actually one of the main reasons why this remastered project took place. Of course, one of them was to rid Pathfinder of the trappings from the Dungeons and Dragons SRD. We all understand that. So now the Pathfinder Remastered project releases the Player Core, the GM Core, Monster Core, which arrives next March, and then the Player Core 2, which is supposed to arrive next July, are all under the ORC license. They are not part of Open Game License any longer. So here we've got some examples of some hazards, such as quicksand, a drowning pit. So building creatures, developing the concept, understanding your statistics. This is something else that I feel Pathfinder does better than Dungeons and Dragons, and that is give you an understanding of how to utilize these monsters, these creatures, obviously fleshed out NPCs in your game. And I've talked about this before, that one of the issues I've had with 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons with the monster manual is you get a stat block, and there's interesting things in that stat block, but there is a reason why the monsters know what they're doing, and its follow-up volume have been so popular. And that's because you really have to kind of decode these stat blocks for the creatures in Dungeons and Dragons to kind of get an idea as a dungeon master, game master, whichever way you want to call it, to utilize them in encounters and combat. Get more of that information, at least from my experience and in my opinion, from Pathfinder and its adventures. All right, so we're looking at spells. So this is designing the creatures. So designing monsters using spells, area damage, building your NPCs. So there's also some discussion of how do the players earn experience points, because it's not always through combat. And if you utilize any of the, my gosh, almost 200 now, in fact, the 200th adventure path is arriving very soon. If you use any of the published adventures, you'll find that there are a lot of encounters that take place where the player characters earn experience points in non-combat situations. And of course, they earn experience points for combat situations too. So here we're going to get into the history of Golarion and the Age of Lost Omens. 10,000 years ago, the world of Golarion came close to ending. Earthfall, as this extinction level event came to be known, saw the world pummeled by a shower of falling stars that sank continents, hollowed out new seas, and destroyed civilizations. It took centuries for the world to recover, and centuries more for society to rebuild, but recover it did. So now we're going to get a history. Here we've got the Inner Sea, which Golarion is a pretty large world, and the Inner Sea area is where the vast majority of the Pathfinder adventures take place. So an interesting aspect of Golarion is that there are areas of Golarion's map that have not been explored. So as a game master, if you want to create your own empires and societies and things like that, you certainly can. You're not only locked in to the Inner Sea area. But if you like to have a bunch of setting information that's available to you that's already out there, then of course the Inner Sea is a perfect location to set your adventures. And depending on the area, will determine the sort of genre or theme of your adventures. So we've got high seas, the impossible lands. We've got, I'm sure we've got the Moangai, there we go, the Moangai Expanse. Excellent adventure path, and it's a recent adventure path, takes place in the Moangai Expanse. And there's also a region guide, a source book for the Moangai Expanse that came out, which is really, really well done. So a little discussion of cultures, religion, various different factions, the Knights of Last Wall, the Hell Knights, the Firebrands. There's a Firebrands supplement that's relatively recent as well. Another great aspect, at least in my opinion, of Pathfinder 2nd edition, and obviously enough now these remastered cores, is just the amount of content that's out there. Every month you get new adventures for Pathfinder. So you'll usually see the adventure paths will run anywhere from 3 to 6 chapters. Now, they used to always run 6. Now they're running a bit shorter. So we do see some 3s. The current adventure path is a 4-part campaign. But rather than other fantasy role-playing games out there that maybe I won't mention, you don't have to wait months and months for something new to come out and then have to keep your fingers crossed that it's going to be something that's going to spark your interest. There is loads of material that's out there, not just from Paizo Inc. There are third-party publishers who publish plenty of Pathfinder content as well. So here we've got victory points. Victory points, or VP, are a powerful tool in your GM arsenal, as they allow you to track the PC's progress using a subsystem to go beyond the results of a single check. Victory points are versatile. You could track and resolve them within a single encounter, or you could collect them over the course of an entire campaign to determine the ending of your story. So now we're taking a look at the various different subsystems. So utilizing your victory points, setting the scale of the victory points. So it looks to me as if the victory points are going to be along the lines of some of these situations in published adventures. The player characters have to perform a certain amount of investigation, or maybe they have to do so much preparation for a certain thing. And it looks like the victory points might be a way that you're going to track those points just as a single subsystem, as opposed to a variety of different approaches that have been used in adventures in the past. Kind of looks like that might be the case. So we have a section on chases. Very nice. Infiltration. So infiltration preparation. Is that like conjunction junction? Duels. Setting up a duel. Participants must willingly agree to the duel and to abide by its rules. If one of the duelists breaks the duel's rules, and more importantly, is caught doing so, that duelist loses, taking any penalties agreed upon when the challenge was accepted. And then we get some example dueling rules. Spellcasting duels, combat duels. Here we've got hexploration. So this looks like this is going to tackle hex crawls. Few activities epitomize adventure as much as pure exploration through an unknown wilderness, leaving the city streets and trade roads behind and striking out into the unknown can test the mettle of the most experienced adventurers. But such efforts reward those seeking fantastical sights, natural resources, and unforeseen opportunities. Many of the adventure paths for Pathfinder have a hex crawl aspect to them. Not everyone. And some campaigns might have one adventure that has more hex crawl than the rest of the chapters of that adventure. We get vehicles. So now we're going to get different types of vehicles. Gotta say, this book is pretty chock full of role-playing goodness from what I can see. Looks like now we're going to get into treasure. Activating an item, reading items, armor and armaments. So we get some artwork. Yep. There we go. Different shields. So one aspect of Pathfinder that I don't know if all game masters out there running Pathfinder understand this, but we have a lot of various different items that the player characters can use, say like weapon runes and things like that. Tons of different potions, elixirs, and so forth. These are meant to be given to players. The way the leveling system and the challenge ratings of the various monsters and things like that works, you need to be loading up your players with goodies. You don't want to sit there and kind of go light on the magic treasure and the magic items and things like that. So it's important to keep that in mind. Also, this is a high fantasy setting. This is a high magic setting as well. So it shouldn't be all too difficult to pick up common and relatively uncommon magic items in a good sized city. So like I said, I'm not sure how many game masters realize that your player characters, second, third, fourth level, they should be collecting probably far more magic goodies than you would see applicable, say, in 5e D&D. So we've just got various different items. It's a skeleton key. Should just say skull key. Different wands. And of course, we are no doubt going to have some information here about creating items. I think I probably passed that by. Artifacts. Intelligent items. There you go. Relics. Very nice. Now, of course, the third of the remastered Project Core books will arrive in March. That's when it's slated to arrive. Off the top of my head, I think I recall it's supposed to be March 17th. It'll arrive in stores, and that will be the Monster Core. So we will see the remastered bestiary, or at least the first remastered bestiary. All right, so now we're going to get into treasure tables. Yep. Should have a glossary, then an index, and that will probably wrap things up. So there is our glossary and index. All right. And then we get an ad for the player core. All right, so that is a look inside Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remastered Project GM Core from Paizo Inc. Of course, I will have a review of the GM Core within the next week. So you will have both the player core and the GM core reviews handy for you. Once again, don't forget, get into the running for the contest. I am giving away a copy of the GM core as well as the player core to one lucky viewer. I mentioned earlier in the video how you can get into the running for that. And of course, once again, I will be revealing the winner on the Gaming Gang Dispatch, my live show. It'll be stream number 1000 on December 19th. And I will reveal the winner relatively early in the show. I won't force people to hang out and watch the entire show to find out who the winner is. All right, that is it for this time out. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. It'll not only let you know when I share videos such as this first look, it'll also inform you when my aforementioned live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. And of course, when you're not watching videos here on the channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you will not find here on YouTube, or at least here on this channel on YouTube. All right, well, once again, happy holidays to all of you out there. Thank you very much for watching, and until I see you next time, here's hoping all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.